Hello there folks, it's TIJ Gaming and welcome back to our F1 2012 Williams career mode. Today it's the time for the Chinese Grand Prix. The third race on the calendar. Quite poignant that Nico Rosberg is doing the hot lap here, as he did win the race, of course, in real life. It was Mercedes' first win since they came back in 2010. Obviously, after that, there was so much in terms of the success they've had in the last 4 years. I don't need to tell you that the fact they've won the last 4 World Championships, 3 courtesy of Lewis Hamilton, 1 courtesy of the man that is driving at the moment, Mr. Rosberg. But our concern is not with Mercedes, our concern is with Williams today. Of course, if you remember from last episode, we had a brilliant race in Malaysia. We finished in 4th place after quite a boring race in Australia where we finished 17th. That's where Maldonado is in the standings at the moment, and hopefully we can have a double points finish here in China. But I'm certainly not hoping we finish 4th. I don't think we are going to finish as high as that. My hope is that we can get a point or two. I think that's probably going to be our potential here. As I said last episode, if you watched that, I think that personally the race in Malaysia was just luck. I mean, we drove well, you know, it's not just all luck, but it was a bit lucky in that we qualified quite well. We had quite a good nature with the track, whereas with this one I'm not particularly in favour of the Chinese track. I don't particularly like the track, so it might be a bit more of a struggle to get a result here. Plus the fact we haven't had any wet weather so far this year apart from Q3 in Malaysia, which we didn't actually get to drive in. So if all of a sudden on race day we get wet weather, which certainly we're going to might get here but won't get, certainly won't get in Bahrain for example next time out, it's certainly a one to be interested in. But no rain so far. It looks like it's overcast apparently, but it looks very nice and much nicer than it is near, I have to say. Saying that, it is 8 or 9 degrees here, so we've got to be fairly fair. But fairly fair, that doesn't really make much sense, does it? But nonetheless, our objective in this one is to finish 10th or above in quali. I mean, that's quite a steep one, considering in the last few races it's kind of been, right, you know, you could go for the finish above, try and finish above 16th, get into Q2, whereas now the expectation is Q3, and I do worry that the team's expectations will be heightened too much because of the fact we finished 4th last time. But I'm going to get out there nice and quickly, and if we need to finish 10th place, just try and get into Q2 without as much hassle as possible. So if we can set a good lap this time, we've put lowest fuel possible in the car. We've only 3 laps. We're on lean mix as well, but I haven't played this game for a few days, so it might be a bit dangerous doing that because we'll only get the 1 lap. That's a tight bend, we'll have to consider that. But nonetheless, I'll see you guys at the end of the lap. Well, we had an off at turn 1, so this is very much going to be treated as a bank lap. We've pretty much gone as slow as possible, so it's going to be nowhere near competitive because we've tried to save fuel, of course. There really was only enough in the car for a lap, so we need to make sure we get around this corner competently, which we haven't. That was great. So what we're going to have to do, well, we'll get a time on the board, we may as well, it's not going to hurt. But this has been a bit of a disaster so far. 19 seconds off, we've got to come back into the pits purely because we've gone for the 3 laps of fuel. Possibly put 5 laps of fuel in and just get out there again, but that was an absolute disaster. Oh, look at this. Well, there's a load of traffic on this straight as we come out the pits again, but that's quite frustrating, that was actually, because it was my fault, but you know, we've ruined a set of tyres now, which is if we get into Q3, actually we're only going to have 1 set of option tyres remaining for the whole weekend, so we're going to have to use that set of tyres we used then, which aren't in the best condition. They're on about 93%. I think this is a really tough corner. We've spun here when we come round it earlier, but finally we can get on with our lap a little bit now, see what we can do in this one. I think this lap, should there not be any mistakes, which is going to be quite a mean feat to be honest, considering how poorly we've been the rest of the session. I mean, look at this. This is abysmal. We can't seem to get the right balance around this track. This isn't very good at all, but we've been off there. I can't see how this is going to be any good. The car feels so much different. I don't know whether there's something that's gone on or what, but we're going to be quite a way off just in this first sector. Half a second off though, which I think we can probably recover throughout the lap. But there are a lot of first gear bends which don't really suit my driving style particularly. There's Jensen there. Can't take this flat out on these games. With the downforce of the newer cars you probably can, but not on this game particularly. Utilise a little bit of DRS there. I don't think we'll have particularly gained much in this sector, but we have to use these tyres to get through, or else we'd have ruined another set of tyres. I mean, we're very close to Kovalainen's time, so we just need to gain a little bit of time, and hopefully we should be safe for Q3. God knows who's Someone just hasn't set a time, have they? Ricardo's the one who's in 17th now, so we're going to have to gain a little bit of time on Ricardo. But anyway, we haven't used any of our Kers. We have used it now, of course, but before that we hadn't used any of our Kers. This is the quickest we've gone all year, up to 210 mile an hour. Having to come down to about 60 here for a sharp 90-degree turn, but we've mastered it pretty much that time. Used a bit of our Kers to get up to speed quickly. Schumacher's right up our backside. But it's going to be a competitive lap time. I don't quite think it's going to be as quick as Ricardo's, but it's going to be half decent. Yeah, it's not going to be anywhere near Ricardo's, and it beats Kovalainen, but the only reason we were so close to Kovalainen is because he was 1.2 seconds off Ricardo. Well, we're going to take this first corner very, not weakly, but quite conservatively, just to make sure we get in there. I mean, what is the rest doing? Just hold us up, why don't you? I mean, that first sector from Ricardo doesn't look particularly good, so I reckon we can beat that, but there's a lot of traffic out on the track, which isn't positive for us. But that'll certainly do. Wow, it's a purple sector. That's brilliant. Well, there's the man in question, Daniel Ricciardo. Moves out the way very gracefully. Now we've got to jog our way past Sergio Perez. And that's a brilliant first sector, but don't expect that to be repeated in the second sector. Bit of a wobble there, but we're okay. Now we should beat Ricciardo's second sector. Considering we're so far up in the first sector, even if we lose a good 5 tenths, say here, we should still be up on Ricciardo's time. Let's have a look, though. This'll do. Well, I think last lap must have been quite a poor lap then, but we can't quite count our chickens just yet. It's not all over just yet. Close the DRS, that's way too sharp a corner to take that round. But again, we'll open up the DRS here. There's not much in the way of fuel left. This is really going to have to be our one lap, but I think we're going to use all our Kers there. The last sector isn't where we performed particularly well, but with that purple first sector, which I'm a bit astounded at, we should be in the top 17, I'd say. That'll do. Decent round there. Just get these last few corners right now, and we are through to Q2. Oh, not the best line there, but we're okay. Come round the final corner. It's going to be easily clear of Ricciardo's time, and that, ladies and gents, is how you do it. Well, Williams 2 and 3 out. I'd love to see that these days. In fact, Williams would love to get out of Q1 these days, but as I said at the start, we're not here to reminisce about current times. But what a lap that is. That puts us up to third place with Maldonado in second. And if we're there on the grid, which I very much doubt, that's very tasty. Well, we got through to Q2 quite easily. It pretty much ended as it was. I think Alonso got second in the end. But apart from that, ourselves and our Williams teammate didn't get moved down the order at all. But it's going to be a bit hard in this session. I mean, look who's on the drop zone. Mark Webber, of all people. It's going to be tricky to beat that time. We've gone this session a little bit, probably a bit of a mistake. We've gone for the tyres that are partly worn from Q1, so I don't think tyre wear is such a big thing, but we'll certainly see whether that has a detrimental effect on our times. But I think to get anywhere in this race, we've got to get through to Q3, but Perez isn't going to be the best in terms of his traffic, I can guarantee. I mean, what are you doing? Luckily, that doesn't hold us up too much, but it doesn't help us out. We've only got 5 minutes left in this session, so not long to go at all. Well, we've left half of our Kers for this start-finish straight, just for the next lap. But it's going to be quite close to Webber's time, but it's not going to be within that top 10. But amazingly, that put us bottom of the pile. And I wonder whether these worn tyres have got something to do with it. But with 3.5 minutes left now, there's not really anything we can do. We can't come back into the pits in time, so that's a bit unfortunate. But we're just going to have to perform 2 good laps. Whoever it even is 2, we might only get the chance to do 1 with our fuel load. But we might end up a bit lower down than Williams hoped for here. Well, I think this lap looks a lot better than the previous. We were about 8 tenths up on our previous best in that second sector. Put us about a few tenths above Webber. But this corner is so crucial here. We might have mucked it up a little bit. But, oh, turn. We're okay, I think. Might have lost a little bit of time, but hopefully not too much. We might get another lap, though, here. We have got it in terms of time. So have we got it in terms of fuel? Bit of a scrappy last corner there. Come on, can we beat Webber? No, we're not going to beat him. Well, it's an improvement. We're up to 16th. But this lap might be... Well, we might get this lap, but I think we're alright, actually, in terms of fuel. Well, we need to improve this lap, or else it's curtains for us. It all comes down to this last sector again. Can we beat Webber? We need to polish up this corner, really, here. Get it turned in pretty much as close to the curb as possible. Get it out nice and quick. I don't think it's going to be enough. That's whether we get in terms of fuel. More aggressive entry to the last corner. Get out on the marbles a bit. Come on, straight up. What a lap that was! Well, I wasn't expecting that much. I genuinely think that was because of our stronger entry to the last few corners. A bit more aggressive. But that, ladies and gents, puts up in 6th. Schumacher on pole as it stands. Of course, another session to go yet. But 6th place for us. I don't think that's going to be beaten. We were quite a way above Webber's time. But we are going to call that a day there. That's a brilliant session. Let's see if we're through. We are 6th place. Webber goes out. What a big casualty that is. Kimi Räikkönen out as well, and Felipe Massa. Maldonado ends up in 12th. But this is going to be a particularly shaken up grid. But it looks like we're very much in that 3rd to pit 6th spot. I mean, look at Grosjean to Webber and Maldonado equally. There's about a 10th between them. But we are in very much that bracket. Funnily enough, 3 Brits, 4, 5 and 6. And if we qualify in 6th, I would very much take that in this race. Oh, it's happened again. Would you believe it? We went for the same strategy as in Malaysia. Come out quite late. And unbelievably, for the 2nd race in a row, it's a wet Q3. I mean, as you can see, there's no way we can pull this off on the on these option tyres. It's just too slippy. The other chaps set their times on the fast tyres. And that, ladies and gents, is it for us again. But we'll take 10th place. Unbelievable that's happened twice. But Vettel on pole, Hamilton 2nd, Alonso 3rd, Button 4th, Kamui Kobayashi in 4th. This is very much a shaken up grid. And it might be a possibility again for a bit of a shaken up start. But it's going to be an interesting one, this is. I wonder what the weather's going to be like for the race. I wouldn't mind a wet race, to be honest. But there we go. We finished 10th or above. That was actually what our target was at the start. Completely forgot about that. Well, we finished 10th. 10th or above was the target, and that's exactly what we did. So, good stuff there. But we're nearly at the race, and I'll see you guys on the grid. The sun's out here in China. Very stark contrast to what it was in Q3 at the end of that session. But we qualified 10th. Our teammate is just the row behind us in 12th. Would be brilliant if we could both get a few points today. But there's some very strong drivers in front of us. But there's 14 laps around the Shanghai International Circuit. The lights illuminate above the drivers. We've got that Red Bull behind us that if it makes a good start, we could be swamped. But we are away, lights out, and away we are. And we've had a good start once again. Schumacher has been overtaken, but, well, Schumacher's got the position back. We've got to be quite cautious coming into this first corner. Webber up the inside, also Maldonado. We seem to have lost a few positions on that start, but it all gets a bit tight coming into here. We've tapped the back of Di Resta. Don't want to cut up Räikkönen in front, and that's not been the best start, but Maldonado is out on the gravel, but made quite an aggressive start there. But we're back ahead of Di Resta. Oh, we've tapped Räikkönen, luckily that's okay, but Maldonado up the inside, we think we're going to follow him. We're pushing the Red Bull. This is brilliant racing, I have to say. The Webber nearly into the side of Maldonado. That could have been dangerous there. But we've lost 3 positions on that start. Not the best way to start this Grand Prix, but we'll try and keep it round the outside of Räikkönen, but just simply no grip on that outside line. But we've been beaten by Räikkönen, Webber and our teammate at the start there, which, to be honest, I don't particularly think was avoidable. But Räikkönen and Webber are going a little bit wide. Räikkönen, I think, might go for the move on Webber. Webber going defensive. So we are going to utilise that move on Räikkönen, even though Räikkönen, Kimi pretty much shuts the door. Can we get the cutback on him? We want to make sure we don't get took by Di Resta, but a brilliant run out the corner. We don't want to tap Räikkönen, we don't want to do that. Look, we're way offline. But we've still got the slipstream, which Di Resta's also got on us. We've got 2 Force Indias behind us with the slipstream. But we've got the slipstream on Kimi. Can we get him here and regain the position? Force India scrapping between themselves. We're going to go up the inside. Don't hit Webber in the process, but not the best there. And Kimi has done his best to try and regain the position, but we've got the inside line for this last corner. Brilliant race on the first lap here in China, but Kimi has just about got the position. We do push him out, admittedly, there. We will give him the space, but I think, unless Kimi comes back for it here, which we can sort of push him off trying to get that position, we are back up to 12th place. Not the best entry to that first corner, though. Oh, God, we've gone back to our Q1 form, but luckily it's not set us back in terms of positions, and it's quite close heads, so it's going to be a good race, I think, today. Definitely do, and Kimi's back on us again. I'm struggling to cut away here because there's so much action, but look at that train in front of us. I think it might be Webber, and I think Schumacher's in front of him, so it's pretty much confirmed that Pasta's in the points, which is brilliant. The gap's pretty much stayed the same between ourselves, Webber, and that team in front of us, but we have left Kimi a bit, a good break in there, and we are getting a bit close to that group. But we need to move in a second, of course, to get DRS, but we also need to watch our fuel. We can't be enriched for the full race, But they are getting a bit close now, about equal the gap between ourselves, Webber and Raikkonen, about 1.3 seconds each either side. But if we can close that up in the next few corners, we can potentially get DRS going onto the back straight. Interesting, the line took by most of the drivers there, as we have a little bit of a twinge. But the line took is to go off the track at the corner we were at previously and come back on to give them a bit of a better line. Kimi's really closed up, which means he'll get DRS here, but we haven't closed up enough to Webber, unfortunately, to get the DRS on him. So Raikkonen might get us back at this stage. So all the hard work we've done in the last few laps is going to be thwarted here. Look how much slipstreams Kimi's got. He's now going to open the DRS. I mean, that slipstream he's got before the DRS, trying to keep him covered off. But he is definitely going to come up the inside. He doesn't, though. That's amazing. Webber tries to get Schumacher, but fails, it seems. Same as Kimi did there. I don't know how he didn't take that position, to be honest. I mean, he was that close behind us before he had the DRS. I mean, we might have moved over a bit aggressively, but that wouldn't have stopped his speed. Much better lap from us there, but still 1.3 seconds off Button. If he's in the lead, he's on for his second race win of the season. So Button an early favourite for the title. Meanwhile, Red Bull's fortunes aren't that brilliant. I mean, look at Webber down outside the points, which would be harrowed upon by by the Red Bull team. Knowing our luck, we'll probably be ahead of Webber in the drivers' fights if we can get ahead of him. We've gained a lot of time on Kimi though there. I don't quite know what's happened to Kimi. There's someone out though again. Let's find out who's retired this time. Who's the customary driver to retire from this race? It's Jean-Eric Vergne. Oh, what a shame. Well, that's it for Vergne. There's usually a customary retirement in these races. I don't really know why. But every race so far there's been one retirement, but no safety cars as of yet. To be fair, there's been no big accidents, but there's always time for that just yet. I'll tell you what the pattern of this race is so far. We have a brilliant first sector as shown in qualifying. We have a brilliant one. We get within a second of Webber. And then there's this sector where we lose about half a second. We lose about 2/10 in the final sector. And then we gain the time again in the first sector. And it's kind of like a revolving door. We gain the time and then lose it again, which is really frustrating. But I've got a bit of a plan, I think, when it comes to pitting today. I think we are going to go for the overcut. Despite there being a big train in front of us, which probably suggests the undercut's the best opportunity. However, based on the AI of this game, I would guess, because I think they're all on the option tyres, the best opportunity to pit is on lap 7, because they'll pretty much all come in on lap 6. They're all going to be following each other out. They're going to be, scrapping on that lap to try and get track position, which in this field that's so close is going to be quite sought for by all these drivers. And if we stay out for another lap, hopefully try and put in a really good lap with no traffic in front of us, pardon me, and then hopefully pit in a bit of a quieter pit lane, less chance of interruption, etc. As we have, well, that wasn't very good, was it? We've lost time there. Kimi's in front. That's interesting. Bit of a half spin there, so Kimi's back ahead. So it might be time to come in pit. I don't know whether the tyres have gone because of that or just a lapse in concentration. But we've lost a bit of time, a few seconds, which certainly doesn't help there. We don't want that to happen again. But certainly no damage from that. Just checking there wasn't any weird wing damage that I've forgotten about. But yeah, I think we are going to leave it till lap 7 to come into the pits. Let's see at the end of this lap how everyone gets on. But in fact, we are going to be very cheeky here. Do the Ricardo dive, but it hasn't really worked. We tap Kimi. Well, it's not been bad for either of us there. Neither of us have got any damage, so we've hit him just right and gained the position back. Bit of action going on behind. Massa and Raikkonen having a scrap, but there's not many that have come into the pits this time. Actually, most of the there's about a half and half split, so we are going to revert back to the original strategy. It makes sense here, but we're just going to get it slowed down. I don't know what the pit speed is. That's about right. There was no real... I don't think there was particularly any advantage with coming in on lap 7. And with that spin, we want to get a bit of momentum. So hopefully coming in now, we can do decently. It's about, as I said, it's about a half and half split of those who have come in and stayed out. Hopefully we can get ahead of Kimi, which we have by quite a mile actually. Unless he's snuck in front of us. But Schumacher's out ahead of us. And I have to say, the gap between ourselves and Schumacher is nowhere near as big as it was before. For some reason it feels like he's got a problem there because he's going very, very slowly as he comes out of the pits. But we want to capitalise on that, but it just seems he was quite slow into that first corner because he's pulling away a little bit now. But if we're, so I think that's about 3 seconds close to Schumacher. If we're that amount close to Schumacher, I wonder if this undercut on about half the field will work. Of course, I didn't think about that in that most of them are teammates in this. They're not going to double stack, so unfortunately there's half of them that are going to have to wait an extra lap equally. One of those is our teammate Maldonado, so I think a good point of reference here is how close we get to our teammate after these stops. Well, we've got the DRS for the first time in the race. That's certainly going to help. But if we're going to get the move done on Schumacher, we can do it quickly. In fact, he's gone defensive, and that just helps us there. We can take our ordinary line, and we've got past Michael Schumacher. We need to get out of this fairly quickly. Are we going to gain any positions in these pit stops? Unless Kimi stayed out. Seems weird that he's nowhere to be seen, but Schumacher's going for it again. Where will we get up to? We were 12th, of course, before the pit stops, and it seems that everybody's gained the position. Well, I don't believe it. Massa's got the overcut, but we're going to slip up the inside of him. But an advantage is for us, I think, is that we're a lot closer to Mark Webber than we were before. And we've took Michael Schumacher, but as Kimi took us. Where is Raikkonen? Oh, well, Raikkonen must have had a terrible pit stop, down to 17th place. But apart from that, everyone's been in the pits, so it might be an 11th place finish for us today. But what a finish this would be for Kobayashi in the Sauber. Maldonado's in the points though as well. I think he's in 9th place. If we can get past Mark Webber, which is going to be quite a tricky job, considering there's nobody in front of him to provide any distraction. But if we can get past Mark nonetheless, we pick up 3 points Williams, which is consistent, which is nice. Well, we gained a lot on Webber there. Whether it's just a fantastic final sector, I'm not particularly sure, but we're below a second behind Webber now, and because we're so good in this first sector, particularly this first corner, if we usually get it right, it could be a very good advantage for us here. We're a lot closer than we've been before, so if we can get the run out of this corner and potentially go for it into that tight turn 4, I think it is. We've used most of our curves there to our advantage. Can we get the run on Webber? We certainly can. We're going to dive up the inside. Make sure we can make it stick, even the space on that outside. But what a move that is, and that is fantastic. Admittedly, that's probably the wrong move, because Webber will have DRS on the back straight. Oh, bit slidey there, getting on the marbles, which certainly doesn't help us. Well, Webber could be back ahead here. Not really what we want. We don't want to dice with Webber because we want to try and get up to the likes of our teammate Maldonado. But we have got to watch fuel at this point. We have been quite aggressive with our fuel strategy at this point, but 2.8 seconds behind Maldonado. Unless we pick up the pace, I very much doubt we're going to finish there. But 10th place, where we qualified, that would be a solid finish nonetheless. But it'd be a bit unfortunate to finish below where the team wants us to finish, but Webber's got the run here. Wow, he's basically through. We're going to try and cut him off as much as possible, but that's pretty much impossible. Unless we have a good break in here, try and cut him up. We have cut him up. We're looking. Webber's still ahead for the moment. Can we get him? Of course, no double DRS I don't think here until 2013. This was the first year of DRS, of course, so the double DRS zone was introduced the year after, I think, much like in Malaysia. But we are ahead of Webber, but at the same time, we're losing really valuable time to the cars in front. I think with a good first sector there, we're past Webber, we're comfortably past Webber. Amazing how we, in the Williams, have managed to overtake a Ferrari, Red Bull and a Mercedes. We're really up there. But I don't think it's going to be enough unless we have 5 really good laps to catch and pass our teammate here. So 10th might be our resting place in this Grand Prix.
Mix 2. We're comfortable at the moment.
Well, what's happening ahead? We were 4 seconds behind Maldonado. Hopefully I'll show the 10 seconds before that that clip, Mr. Future Me. But that was a bit weird. We're 4 seconds ahead. There was about 3 of them on the straight competing together. And that seems to have lost them a lot of time coming to turn 1. So from 4 seconds behind Pastor, we're less than a second behind now. Let's make sure we take advantage of that. Well, we're pushing it to the limits here, but the trouble is, everybody else is as well. We're gaining and then losing time on Pastor like we did with Webber earlier on. I don't think we're going to be able to get the position unless something happens ahead, but I'll save you to the end now. There's no point cutting away. There's over a lap left. As you can see, the car's head just pull away at the end of the straight. There's no fear of Webber getting us, so there's a solid point in it for at least us today, so that's positive. But the field closely ahead are starting to get a little bit close together now. So hopefully something kicks off on the final lap and we can take advantage. But it's just going to be a little bit too little too late, I think, unfortunately. But that being said, some positive to be taken in that our laps are all pretty good now. They're all solid 39s. That's the first lap in a while that we haven't beaten our previous effort. I do wonder whether that was the case, possibly, and might have been the reason why we didn't gain anything on Maldonado there. But I do say we are clear of Webber and the lot, but if we do make a mistake, Webber and Massa and Schumacher are right back in the fight again. But I think in reflection, this race not been the most interesting to watch. I can understand that, but you know, we had the highs of 4th place in Malaysia, the low of 17th in Australia, and this 10th place is pretty much an average of the two. You know, if you add the two together, it's 10.5 it gets, so luckily we're on the right side of that 10 to pick us up a point. So this is probably where we should be on average in races, but I think in some race we'll score more, some will score less. I think I quite fancy ourselves in Bahrain next up. I do quite like that Bahrain track, but as I said, I'm not a fan of this track, so to pick up a point here is very positive. We're going to go into rich mix the rest of the race. I don't think there's any fear of us running out of fuel at this point. We want to make sure we get nicely clear of Mark Webber behind, but oh, no way, no way. Oh my god. No way. No way. Oh dear. Has the tyres gone or something? Have the tyres just gone? What on earth has happened there? Oh dear. Well, would you believe it? If we hadn't have had that spin, we'd have be coming across the line now to celebrate a point. But that is just an absolute rookie mistake. Oh, that's unbelievable. That is unbelievable. Too aggressive. Trying to keep our place. There was no real threat to it either. And that, really annoyingly, leaves us in 17th. Oh, that's gutting. Really is. Especially as Pastor got points that time. Would have been great to get the team's first bundle of double points. But it wasn't to be. And that is just so unfortunate. Gutting. Absolutely gutting there. And puts a little bit of pressure on us really to score some points next time out. That wasn't a good race. Oh dear. Well, luckily we hold on to our 7th place in the Constructors. In fact, I think we lost that to Mercedes because Rosberg scored 4 points. That's unfortunate, but Maldonado gets on the scoreboard at least. The Toro Rossos, the lower cars down, and Hulkenberg, unbelievably, hasn't got on the team sheet yet. But that is disappointing. And in fact, Sauber off to a really strong start this year, 36 points. Kobayashi with 12, Perez with 24. Of course, you remember that Perez got a 2nd place finish in Australia, which really helped them out. And Kobayashi, I think, finished 5th there. But that is annoying because every point matters at the end of the season for our Constructors standing. We want to finish in 5th place, and every point does matter. And that is really infuriating. But a rookie error. Maybe it wasn't meant to be here. Maybe we can get a better result out next time in Bahrain. I hope we don't finish lower 17th next time out, that's for sure. But that was very, very unfortunate. I wonder what the team have got to say after that. It swings and roundabouts. I mean, Maldonado's beat us twice now, but we beat him once. At the end of the day, we finished in 4th place in Malaysia. So I know we can't hold on to that, but at the end of the day, we have still got the we've still got the upper hand on Pastor, in my opinion. But R&D, we will get some parts in the next few races. That's jolly good stuff. Sakir, no rain forecast. Race subject to 11th place. Apparently tyre wear looks good. Well, I can only think we really Peter struggled to get off the line there on that with that spin because of the tyre wear. I don't know whether we revved it up too quickly or not, but I'm not particularly sure. But as you can see there, we are losing the current stakes in the fastest laps. Interesting that Maldonado has beat us in terms of fastest laps every single time. But as long as we keep out qualifying past, I think podiums won't come into it. So we've got to beat him 3-1 really. So we've got to outrace him. I think fastest laps are going to be something we don't get because Maldonado's already 3-0 up in that. But I do quite like the Bahrain track, so we might be able to get back in that one. But if you guys did enjoy that race, even though I didn't at the end, it was an action-packed race nonetheless. If you did enjoy that, folks, make sure to leave a like down below, comment if you enjoyed as well, and subscribe for 2 Formula 1 videos a week. One on a Wednesday at 6 PM and one on a Saturday at 7 PM. But if you enjoyed that, as I said, leave a like. And until the next time, I've been TIJ Gaming, and I'll see you guys on Saturday for the Bahrain Grand Prix. It's been a pleasure. Goodbye.